Welcome to our group presentation about risk and return. So this is our agenda for today's presentation, and we are group 6, and our group has 4 people. It's Thôi, Tống, Nghi, and Me Hung. So moving to the first part, it's introduction about the 5 stock we have. The first stock is Comeco. Its full name is Material Petroleum Joint Stock Company, and its stock ticker is COM. And its business line is mainly about gasoline, oil, car service, equipment for gas station and supply, petroleum station and warehouse, and so on. So Comeco was transferred from a state-owned enterprise, then officially operated in 2001, and on 2011, Comeco was honored in the top 100 trusted products and services of Vietnam. And the company is being held mostly by two state-owned enterprises, BV Oil with 44.8% and Saigon Petrol with 39.7%, and the rest are held by the other important position in the companies. So in general, Comeco total assets, total revenue, total liability, and total equities significantly fluctuated, especially in the period of 2019 to 2020. So the second stock is HBG, which is its stock ticker and its name is Hòa Phát Group. Hòa Phát Group joint stock company. Its business line is mainly about metal building material, construction and mining machinery, electronic, and so on. And in 2000, Hòa Phát was established, and within 7 years of development, Hòa Phát Group has acquired 6 other independent enterprises, and on November 2007, Hòa Phát was legally listed on the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange. So Hòa Phát Group currently has 26% of shares held by Mr. Trần Đình Long, the company chairman, board of directors. His family hold a total of 34.9%, and the other two major shareholders are Dragon Capital with 4.72% and BOF Investment Limited with 3%. So in general, Hòa Phát Group total assets, total revenue, total liability, and total equity significantly grows. And the next stock is Vietcombank, the joint stock commercial bank for foreign trade of Vietnam. Its business line mainly about deposit, loan, credit card, and so on. Vietcombank was officially went into operation on April 1963, and Vietcombank officially operated as a joint stock commercial bank in June 2008. And on June 2009, Vietcombank share with stock ticker is VCB were listed on the host. And in 2021, the State Bank of Vietnam accounting for 74.8% of the share, following its Mizuho Corporate Bank, who hold 50% of shares. The remaining capital of Vietcombank is share to the other shareholder, including 8% foreigner investor and 2% for domestic investor. In general, Vietcombank total assets, total revenue, total liability, and total equity slightly grows. So the next stock is Vinamilk or Vietnam Dairy Product Joint Stock Company. It's manufacturing milk and dairy product. So in 1976, Vinamilk was established, and on October 2003, it was officially operated as a joint stock company with the name Vietnam Dairy Product Joint Stock Company or Vinamilk. And on January 2006, Vinamilk was officially listed on host with the stock ticker is VNM. And the three largest shareholders currently own a total of more than 66% of shares, in which the State Capital Investment Corporation owns 36% of capitals, and F&N Dairy Investment and F&N Beef Manufacturing own 17.3% and 2.7% respectively. And next we have Platinum Victory BTE is holding a 10.6% of capital, and Vinamilk also has the participation of many professional investment funds. In general, Vinamilk's total assets, total revenue, total liability, and total equity slightly rose and not much fluctuate. So next, we will do the final stock.
So thank you for your introductions of the first 4 stock, and moving on is about the final stock, which is Vingroup. So Vingroup had its own stock ticker called VIC, which is licensed on the Ho Chi Minh City Stock Exchange on September 7, 2007. And briefly, Vingroup Joint Stock Company, formerly known as Vietnam General Trading Joint Stock Company, which is the one that officially operated with an initial charter capital of 196 billion Vietnam baht on the 3rd of May 2002. And the company main activities are trading in real estate, leasing offices, commercial center, and providing services and entertainment products. And next it is about the ownership structure. So as we can see here in this figure, Vietnam Investment Joint Stock Company is the largest shareholder of Vingroup with 32.96% of share being held. The second largest shareholder is the chairman of Vingroup, Mr. Phạm Nhật Vũ, with a 25.78% stake. And at the same time, Mr. Phạm Nhật Vũ's wife and her sister are holding 7.42% of company shares, and the remaining shares are owned by financial investment company and retail investor. And last is about the financial statement. So overall, from 2018 to 2021, we witnessed a slight upward trend in the company's total assets and capital structure. But due to the pandemic, we can understand why the company's revenue and profits underwent a mild drop. But overall, we can expect a recovery. So the next is about annual average return analysis, and Cole will present for you.
Thanks for introducing me. I'm Anchor. Now I will describe our analysis of the annual average returns of Comeco Market Group, Vietcombank, Vinamilk, and Vingroup stock. The first stock is Comeco. Look at the table. In 2017, the corporation's stock price hit its peak in May at nearly 67. It is still the most efficient years of the company when the company's revenue increased by 11% compared to the same period of 2016 until it began to slide down to the end of the same year. According to our research, moreover, despite many interruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic to the operation of production and business activities, a higher petroleum stock price seemed to be possible in 2020 and 2021. Finally, the Russia and Ukraine war, which make the shortage of oil, can have a Comeco stock rise to recover. Next, Hapag Group's stock rise is increasing more than 5 times from 2017 to 2022. In the first 3 years, the Hapag Group stock rise varied from around 15. However, since 2020, the rise has accelerated up to more than 50. The highest record Hapag Group hit over 57 in October 2021. In 2017, the corporation's stock price had a significant growth of nearly 60% in annual return, which majorly came from its exporting activity from the steel industry group. However, an increasing amount of bad debt make 2018 and 2019 a difficult year for the corporation, resulting in low annual rates. Thirdly, in the past 5 years, Vietcombank has remarkable growth in its stock rise. More specifically, the Vietcombank stock rise in early 2022 is over 3 times as high as the same period of 2017. Broadly, Vietcombank stock rise has surged over 5 years, despite a decline of over 20% in 2018 due to the impact of the world economy and the increasing rates of bad debt. However, since 2019, the bank's stock rise has recovered and continued to slowly move upward till these days. Vietcombank's stock rise has increased by nearly 60% compared to the beginning of 2019, and the rise increasing still shows the no sign of stopping when Vietcombank record very high growth. This can also be seen in 2017 and 2019 AAR when it experienced significant growth at over 48% and nearly 56% respectively. Despite being a leading bank in Vietnam, unlike the stock rise of other banks, which rose dramatically in 2021, Vietcombank is the only bank that saw its stock rise fall. The key reason is due to its very secure business model where the bank keep the part debt coverage ratio about 300% during the 5-year annualized. The company's stock rise very drastically with a notable rise in risk. Vinamilk conclude the periods with a sale rise of over $78,000, a little increase over the initial amount of over $73,000. However, the company's stock of 122 point in December 2017 marked the conclusion of the company's most important growth period. The corporations also had the largest annual profit margins of over 53% during this time. The company's good business management is credited as the source of the decided data. However, from 2018 to 2021, the rise will rise in not as bad as the previous periods and even negative growth. In detail, Vinamilk achieved the lowest annual profit margin during this period. Currently, VIC sales increased to time in the period. The peak rise of VIC sales during this period were in June 2021, when the sales values were over 160,000 Vietnam dong at the close. Moreover, the month with the highest profit growth rate during the period were November 2017, with more than 27%. This is one of the months in the growth sequence of VIC stock starting from May 2017 to April 2018. After this growth series, the values of VIC shares had tripled since the beginning of the 2017, especially in the 2 years 2020 and 2021, when the whole Vietnamese economy is affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Vingroup has significantly affected by Vinber and Vincom retail business activity during prolonged social distancing periods. The rule is that the annual average in the 2 years is a record low in period 2017 to 2022, especially the negative growth rate in 2020. That's all of my presentation, and now my friend Tong will present the annual average return analysis of VN Index and our portfolios and the risk of each stock.
So next about the VN Index. In the period from 2017 to 2021, the VN Index increased over double, with such an increase of more than double. We can also conclude that Vietnam's economy has had outstanding advancement in the past 5 years. And the time of this index highest increase was in December 2021, when the VN Index nearly touched 1,500 points. In addition, the 2021, the VN Index gained with a growth of nearly 36% from 2020, the highest in the past 5 years. Finally, about the group's portfolio, the table below shows that this portfolio fluctuated in tandem with the market. Nonetheless, it can be shown that annual average returns were higher than the market in some years. In 2019, the portfolio's annual average return was 1.8 times higher than the market. However, the 2021 economy froze due to the COVID-19 quarantine, making the annual average return of the portfolio experience nearly 5 times less than the market average. Petroleum, real estate, and industrial manufacturing are the top industries that were heavily affected by the pandemic during the following period. That's all of my presentation. So now I will continue with the next sections, total risk, variances, and deviations, presented by me, Nguyễn Hữu Minh Tuấn. First about the Comeco. So the monthly return of Comeco is relatively similar to the VN Index number, and the Comeco has a low variance, and so it means the variance of Comeco is closer to its average return rate, which conducts the lower risk of the investment, and the variance of Comeco is slightly greater than the VN Index number in the total, which is 0.19%. And the comparison of standard deviation between two observations looks like the one of variance, so it means the risk from this stock can be predictable and less than the others which have a higher variance from 2018 to now. Next, about Hafec Group. Among the 5 stocks, Hafec has the highest variance of 1.32%, which is threefold than that of VN Index. 2020 was the most successful year for Hafec Group despite the influence of the pandemic, explained for the significant amount of annual average return in the same year. And the Hafec Group standard deviation is 11.5%, which is nearly twice that of the VN Index. This suggests that the corporation rate return raised the total risk of the stock. The third stock is Vietcombank. The VCB variance is almost double the amount of the market in comparison to the VN index. The stock's return fluctuated more frequently, indicating that it was more volatile, and the VCB standard deviation is quite high, of about 8.88%. This phenomenon is understandable because the higher the rate of return over the months, the more significant the total risk of the stock. And the monthly return rate of Vietcombank has not fallen below 40 since 2018, and presents a steady growth ever since. So therefore, if investors prefer stock with moderate risk yet predictable returns relative to the market, this is the worthwhile investment. And next, about Vingroup. So the monthly return fluctuations of VIC occurs frequently, and its change is similar to the market. During the pandemic, the monthly return of VIC went up and down continuously, and it doesn't follow any trend. VIC has a variance that is nearly double the same value of the market, and VIC standard deviation is more than 2% larger than the market portfolio's one. Therefore, Vingroup stock makes a profit with a higher rate of return than the market, but also entails a higher level of risk. So finally, we have Vinamilk. It can be seen from the diagram that the variance of Vinamilk is almost equal to that of the market, 0.49% and 0.4% respectively. It can be noticed that Vinamilk stock fluctuate a lot more than VN index, and despite its unpredictable monthly returns, which occasionally go below the negative margin, which is minus 12.92%, Vinamilk stock remains a noteworthy stock and a valuable investment owing to its small beta of 0.7, one of the lowest priced in 5 stocks, which is also well below market rates. Then we move to market portfolio. So the VN index has a variance of 0.4%, which defines volatility and market security, and the standard deviation, which helps determine the consistency of an investment returns over the time, or the entire risk of a stock, is 6.36% for the time period we examined. And finally, about our group's portfolio, although the variance of the portfolio and the VN index is nearly the same, portfolios still have less fluctuations. So looking at the portfolio's risk indicators, the variance is 0.33%, whereas the overall market is 0.4%. So as a result, portfolio provides less significant data of the variance compared to the VN index. And next, my friend Lê Văn Vĩnh Nghi will continue his part. Thank you.
So now we'll carry on the whole presentation with the last 2 parts. So the fourth part is about analyzing the systematic risk, and the beta of the market in this case is the VN index is always equivalent to 1, and there are scenarios for the beta coefficients of each stock less than 1 or greater than 1. So for the first case, we can see that the Comico and the Vinamilk and the Vingroup stock have a beta of 0.08, 0.7, and 0.75 respectively, and each is lower than 1. So it means that the security moves in the same directions as the market, but in principle is less volatile. So to be more specific, while the upward trend of the market prices lead to the same trend in the security, however, these 3 stocks will have a less significant growth magnitude and vice versa. And the investor, they can either take a stock with higher risk and higher expected return, or take a low risk one yet. And we have the last 2 stocks in the portfolio that have the beta coefficient greater than 1, which are 1.27 for Perfect Group and 1.1 for Vietcombank. So for the second scenario, it indicates that the security price is theoretically more volatile than the market. And in this case, Perfect Group and Vietcombank are 27% and 10% more volatile. It means that they will move the same direction with the market movement, but with the faster and more significant growth. And including this stock in the portfolio will increase the portfolio risk and also increase the expected return. And the last part is about identifying the weight of the stock in the portfolio, resulting from minimizing the variance or the standard deviation, which is a method that helps investors not only to maximize the return, but also to minimize the risk. And we can see the Comico and the Vietcombank stock will change dramatically from having a equal portfolio weight to having a highest and the lowest proportion on the table, from 20% up to 40.03% and down to 0%. And admittedly that and likewise, the similar pattern is evident in the other stock way, but it happened in the slight tendency. And on the whole, although the total risk of the portfolio decreased, the same pattern is followed by the expected result. And therefore, the investor preference cannot be met when optimizing the variance due to several factors such as market value, liquidity, and so on. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.